This is an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder.
Four-time Emmy Award-winning actress Michael Learned is best known for the role that brought her 3 of those Emmys. She played the matriarch, Olivia Walton, in the hit CBS series The Waltons. In December, there is going to be a reunion of some of the cast members to mark the 40th anniversary of the TV movie The Homecoming that spawned the show. Michael Learned will be there in New Jersey. But that's not all she's doing. She continues to be a very busy actress with a very busy career, which is why we're honored that she's taken a little time to talk to us right now. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Peter. Thank you. That's very sweet of you.
Thanks for being on with us. You, as I said in the introduction, very, very busy. Not only do you have this reunion coming up, and not only have you kept working all these years, you're currently working on The Young and The Restless.
I am. At the moment, I'm stepping in for Jeannie Cooper, who has had an upper respiratory infection, so she's recuperating from it. She had a very heavy schedule, and I guess she felt it was best to just take it easy for a little while and come back when she's really strong again. So I'm stepping in, not filling her shoes by any means, because no one could, but it's been an experience, I'll tell you. I start a scene with somebody and say, do I know you? Are you my son? Are you my lover? Are we friends? Are we enemies? Because, I don't know the backstories of any of these storylines. So it's been a real experience.
But you're not new to the world of daytime drama. You've done General Hospital and All My Children in the past, correct?
Well, All My Children, it was just a 2-day thing where I played a judge. And General Hospital was a character that was just on her own. It wasn't part of a storyline. Her storyline was just hers. I played someone who had cancer, and but Jeannie Cooper is involved in. Kay Chancellor is involved in everybody's life on that series. So there are a lot of storylines to try to follow and catch up on, and everybody's been wonderfully helpful. It's been actually fun, but a little harrowing at the same time.
I would assume it's a little bit of a different acting muscle to be in a daytime drama like that.
My hat's off to those people. I told them, I said, you guys are warriors. You'd go in and you get a script just before you have to play a scene sometimes, or the night before, and boom, out there they go, and they do a damn good job, I think.
Well, let's go back a little bit to those series that won you multiple Emmys, 3 Emmys for The Waltons and 1 Emmy for Nurse. It's almost hard to believe it's 40 years ago.
Can you believe that? I can't. My kids grew up on it.
Yeah. A lot of people.
And so did I.
Yeah. Exactly. The reunion coming up in December. Do you keep in touch with a lot of the cast and crew over the years?
Absolutely. We're like an extended family. We really are. We're very close. We get together as often as we can. Of course, we all have our other lives, but we look forward to whenever there's a reunion or anything that we get to do, because we have so much fun together. And those kids are like my own kids. They grew up with me, really.
And I understand you do keep in contact with some of the crew, including Ralph Waite. Since we're in Canada, I should mention you are actually coming to Canada next year with Ralph in Love Letters.
That's right. We're going to do it in a town called Petrolia. Do you know that? Do you know where that is?
Near Sarnia, I believe.
Yeah, and I guess a couple hours out of Toronto, but it's a cute little town. And I was there summer before last and worked for the Starbright Company, and I had a wonderful time. It's a wonderful company, and I kind of felt like I was back at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco, where I spent many years in a rep company, and it has that wonderful feeling of vibrance and exuberance and hard work and great talent. So it's a great company to be part of.
Well, what do you prefer, stage or television?
Well, I like the money in television. To be honest, stage is it's what I trained for, and it's where I feel ultimately most comfortable, I think.
There is
wish the toilets were cleaner.
There is a special category in the world for television moms, so it must feel good to you to play such an iconic role as you did on the Waltons, which is one of the great moms in TV.
It sure is. I mean, just to have been part of the show. When I was in Canada summer before last doing Driving Miss Daisy for the Starbright company, they have a tradition where you meet where the audience meets the cast afterwards. You come out through the audience and meet people in the lobby, and it was really very humbling to see how much the Waltons has meant to people. People would come up to me with tears in their eyes, and it touches your heart,
When you read the scripts, when you first worked on the show, did you get a sense that the role and the show would become what it has become?
We had no idea. I had no idea. I thought it would just be I had done a lot of work in Canada because, I lived in Toronto for a long time, and but I hadn't done any television in the United States. I'd only been working at the American Conservatory Theater, and so I thought this would be my first American TV credit. And I thought that was great, but I never thought it would run for more than 2 or 3 episodes. And it was stunning how it turned my life around. Literally stunning.
Now, you were a full-time member of the cast for most of the run, but not necessarily near the end. You did do some guest starring appearances, I believe, near the end, right? But you weren't a regular.
No, I once the kids were grown, there wasn't much left for me to do, and to sit around for 14 hours and pour coffee or say, pass the salt, please, I just couldn't do it anymore. And I didn't feel it was really quite the same show. I think in the States we tend to keep shows on a little too long. But I was very proud and still proud and humbled to have been part of it at all. And I mean that because, when I was young, I was, when you're young, you're sort of arrogant. You don't have a clue. And as you get older and you look back on those wonderful days and what a great gift it was.
Many actors, especially women of a certain age, if they have a role that they've had for a long time, they get typecast. You managed to go right into another show not too long after and win another Emmy. Nurse.
Well, that was lucky, and I loved that show. It was difficult. We were shooting in New York, and it was a very difficult show because the writers were in Los Angeles writing for New York. So it was a little tough, but I think it had great promise, and I'm sorry that it was canceled. I think it had some good stories and some wonderful actors and writers, New York writers and stuff. So that was disappointing, but it was really nice to get an Emmy. That was great. I didn't expect it, and it was nice.
Where do you keep all your Emmys?
I have a little study upstairs, and they're in the bookshelf. I hide them. I used to keep them outside because somebody said they get a really nice patina, but they don't, so I don't keep them outside anymore.
Now, I understand that you besides spending time here in Canada, you also spent some time in Austria?
I did. I was there in just after the war in 1950 when it was still occupied by the Russians, the Americans, and the English. And we lived in a tiny little village, and I went to school in the little village and learned to speak German and wore dirndls, and it was, I think there were 2 cars in the entire village, and my father was working for the OSS. In other words, he was a spy, and later worked for the CIA. And so it was interesting, to say the least, for me. It was a little bit like The Sound of Music, honest to God. It was sitting on a hill and making daisy chains and harmonizing with the local kids. It was great.
You just didn't have to wear the drapes, right?
No. And then there were all those, there's all that other stuff was going on at the same time. All the political stuff with the Russians and the Cold War and all that stuff. But I was 11 years old, so I wasn't interested in any of that stuff. I was just interested in boys and, what 11-year-olds are interested in.
When did your interest go to acting?
Well, I was shipped off to boarding school in England, primarily for dance. And so I went to boarding school in England from Austria. And I accidentally, I think, won a drama cup in the school, competition. And so they said, "You're not really a very good dancer. Why don't you become a special drama student?" So that's what I did. And that's kind of how it happened.
So flash forward to the work you've been doing and the work you've done in the Waltons. As I mentioned, a 40th anniversary coming up in December. I'm sure there's always talk of, will there be another movie? So I have to ask the question, will there be another movie, a TV movie, a reunion?
I hope not, actually. I think I'd rather leave it the way people want to remember it in its early stages. I think it's really sad to have these constant movies of the week where everybody's, I'll be in a walker by then. So I hope there's I don't look forward to another movie of the week.
Is there anything in your career that you haven't done that you'd like to?
No, not really. I mean, no, I've been very lucky. I've had a family life and a career as well, and I'm married to a gorgeous sweetheart of a man, and I'm a very lucky person, I think. I was telling somebody earlier that I really didn't deserve to get the Waltons. I wasn't ready for it. I didn't want it, and it turned my life around, and it was a great gift that I didn't deserve, but I'm grateful that I was given it.
And I think I speak for most of the fans. We're grateful that you got the part. I thank you very, very much, Michael, for taking the time to be on the program with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Actress Michael Learned, best known for her role as Olivia Walton on The Waltons. Currently, she's filling in for Jeannie Cooper as Catherine Chancellor on The Young and the Restless, and she'll be in New Jersey on December 2nd for the Waltons reunion. And if you're making plans to visit Southern Ontario next summer, she'll be doing Love Letters with her TV hubby Ralph Waite at the Starbright Theatre in Petrolia in August. For information, you can go to my website at thestuffile.com, go to the What's On page for this show, which is show number 0117, and you'll find links to all the events.
You've just heard an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder. To hear any or all of the full hour-long shows, visit thestufffile.com. Stuff is spelled S-T-U-P-H. That's thestufffile.com. A presentation of Flying Fish Communications.